welcome to Taking Stock. This is our weekend show where we take stock of the week gone by and more importantly tell you what to expect in the week to come. I'm Sonia Shenoy and with me as always is Anuj Singhal. Anuj, it was a historic week for the market. So the Nifty hit 6800 for the first time ever. We had some serious voter turnout in some of the battleground states, indicating that there could be a decisive mandate from the new government, etc. And some big ticket stocks that moved. I mean, Sun Pharma, Kotak Mahindra Bank, SBI. So in all senses, it was quite a good week that we had.
It was actually, Sonia. It was a truncated week, but I think within 4 days we punched a lot. There was a lot of data that we had to really interpret. I think election still remains the major factor. We had the first major phase. The third phase of election. That was the first major phase. And as you go forward over next few weeks, next week is again truncated week, just about 3 days. But next week you have a lot of earnings, starting with Infosys, then Reliance, and then you enter into the big phases of election. So I think from here to 16th May, I think we are in for
a lot of data.
A lot of data. I think one thing which Friday told us though was that don't take your eye completely off the global screen.
Yes.
That's one part which could place a bit of a spoiler, which at this point in time you don't know. We've all been playing, the market has been playing the Modi trade, the election trade, and it's putting all the eggs in just one basket. Friday told us that something globally can also go wrong, even if the markets outperform the global markets. And also one more thing that stood out all through this week was that large caps are sort of giving you fatigue signs, because you started to see a lot of mid cap outperformance, a lot of non-index stock outperformance. I think that could be key going forward.
Indeed, and next week will be quite heavy because we have big ticket earnings starting Tuesday. Infosys is there, then you have TCS, you have a Reliance on Friday as well. So there'll be lots of talking points. But without wasting any time, let's get our guests on the show. Joining us today, we have Tirthankar Patnaik of Religare and Rajat Rajgaria of Motilal Oswal, who are our experts for the weekend and will tell us how to approach all the big cues that we have lined up. Rajat, I'm going to start off with you. This week, as I pointed out, was a historic week. I mean, we hit 6800 for the first time on the index. But now there are some people who are recommending that you take one step back or take a bit of profits off the table. What's the sense you're getting, and what's your recommendation to retail investors?
Well, I think the kind of gains that the markets have made in the last 1.5 months have been first quite sharp, but not really completely unanticipated. After remaining in the range for almost last 5-6 years, finally we saw the breakout of that range happening. I think the markets will continue to find a trend from whatever voting turnout details we get over the next 6 phases also. And at least there isn't going to be any letdown in the momentum on the run-up to May 16th voting count day. And post that, at least for another month or so, that will be the deciding force or driving force for the markets, right? But I think the basic uptrend, we are in the period where a basic uptrend has begun into the markets. Fundamentally, from a 6-7% earnings growth, we are into a 10-12% zone right now, expected to grow further. Valuations are today below long-term averages, and some of the macro concerns like trade deficit, current account, fiscal, inflation are manageable today compared to what it was for the last 3-4 years. So the floor of the market got shifted higher, and then in between also consider that there have been many emerging markets which have been showing a similar kind of a strength in the last 1 month or so. So this is not like really unique to India, but yes, the momentum in the broader market has been very, very sharp. Retail investors, I think after coming out of this down cycle at 4.5% GDP growth, things are beginning to look up. Election will be a very game-changing event. The initial indications are quite positive. So spread out your investments so that you get a good average buying price. But I think the next 3 to 5 years look much better than what last 3 years have been for us.
All right, Tirthankar, the same question to you, because we have been in a blue sky territory for a better part of last 2 or 3 months. There's been a big rally that's taken Nifty towards 6800. What's the call now? Carry forward the momentum and carry on with the long positions, or is it time to book some profits?
My read is that a lot of domestic investors, I'll start with domestic and then go to foreign investors. Domestic investors have not made money in these markets for the last 3 years or so. So whoever had positioned, at least our client interactions tells us that whoever had positioned in December, January have booked profits or are in the process of booking profits at these points, because at 6800 levels the market is factoring in a lot of things, and not all of whom are comfortable to domestic investors. So for instance, they might, market is probably factoring in a clear-cut BJP win at this point, and people are confused and therefore they are booking profits, and which is what is happening. But in terms of foreign investors, at least our interactions, our trips to the US tell us that many of them are still not positioned properly for the elections. IT, pharmaceuticals do remain overweights even at these levels, and therefore there is attraction even now, and we've seen that panning out in terms of flows. We are already north of $4.5 billion for this year, and we are likely to cross debt inflows for this year as debt inflows basically start drying up.
Rajat, of course, next week we start the earnings season. It's a 3-day week, but we have a lot of earnings starting with Infosys, and we go right up to Friday when we have Reliance numbers. How important is the earnings season this time round? Or do you think this time the market is only bothered about May 16th and earnings season would pass without any volatility? What's the call as we start the season here?
Well, I think earnings are always important despite whatever events we may have. So while at the top-down level an aggregate index may not see big variation because of the election event during the earnings season, but individual stock actions will definitely be a lot more, and especially if there are positive or negative trends in the direction of what stocks have been trading at, then you may just see volatility increasing even more. For example, if technology has been at the receiving end of underperformance over the last 1 month, and if you see some more tones of disappointment coming from likes of Infosys, TCS, then these stocks probably will see more reaction. Similarly, on the state-owned banks, while they have really caught fancy over the last 1 month, if you see things being little better for them, then that becomes another reason for people to trade them up. So I think individual stock-wise, it will still matter, but yes, the macro event definitely caps both upside and downside depending upon where the sector is positioned as far as the election result is concerned. We will see, in my view, we will see a fair bit of volatility during this earnings season, even if the index may not reflect that, the separate sectors and individual stocks will be reflecting that.